A police officer spots a car parked in a popular makeout spot late one night, and decides to investigate. 21-year-old reading a newspaper? 18-year-old knitting? The cop must wonder if he's time traveled to the 1940s. And in 12 minutes she'll be cleaning herself up. 21. And reading a newspaper? 17. And knitting? Highly suspicious behavior. Would you care to join us? WTF. The real mystery is where the guy found a newspaper. Okay, boomer humor. Real letter of the law girl. War? In 8 states, the joke only really works if the girl says 17. In 32, she has to say 16. Yeah. Laws are screwed. Yay federalism. Letter of the law girl. That would be, I'll be 16 in 10 minutes in the UK, and I think most countries in Europe. That paints the guy in a very bad light. Huh? A priest, a minister, and a rabbi want to see who's best at his job. So they each go into the woods, find a bear, and attempt to convert it. Feels like there is more to this joke. It feels like only the tip of it. Where's the rabbit? Shouldn't have started with the circumcision. Hopefully he didn't try a Metzites-style circumcision. A rabbi is walking in the woods when a bear comes out of nowhere, and chases him into a corner. The rabbi begins to pray for his life, when, to his surprise, the bear takes out a kippah superscript 1, puts it on his head and begins to go into his own prayers. The rabbi is ecstatic, he'll get out of this with his life, and then he hears the bear. Lechem min haaretz squared. Superscript 1 yarmulke squared, the end of a prayer for food. I knew a rabbi that specialized in circumcision. He only worked for tips. Great joke. Good joke. Dutch is the uncanny valley between English and German. J bent zelf een uncanny valley. Check out Frisian. It's the closest related language English has left, although they're still too far apart to be mutually intelligible, sadly. There's a language called Frisian that's even closer to English. It's English's closest continental relative. But it's become very rare and is spoken only in a few towns in the Netherlands, I think. I have always thought that Dutch sounds like a drunk Scot trying to speak German. When I hear someone speaking Dutch, it sounds just like English, until I pay closer attention and realize I don't understand any of the words. Do German speakers experience the same thing? The Dutch finally admit that their language is just an elaborate joke to prank Germans. What jzegt ben jzelf? More of an uncanny plain. You need mountains for a valley. Nee, die valley I zit tussen J motors villain. Well, das ist fucking richtig. I asked my wife where she wanted to go for dinner. I asked my wife what she wanted for Christmas. She said a divorce. I said you can fuck right off. I'm not spending that much. My wife asked me which of her friends I'd like to have a threesome. I wasn't supposed to pick 2 of them. Still recovering from a foot-long concussion. I put a map of the world up and gave my wife a dart and said wherever it lands we will take a 2-week vacation there. We are going to spend 2 weeks under the fridge. Last time we fought, I started it. My wife asked what was on the TV. And I said dust. I asked my wife where she wanted to go for dinner, and she said take me somewhere I've never been before. So I took her into the kitchen. And that's when the fight started, Your Honor. Women don't know what they want. I asked my wife where she wanted to go eat. She says I don't know. So I suggested about 10 different places. She said no to all of them. 30 years later I'm still waiting on her. My 7-year-old son got me so good. Daddy, do you know the scientific name for a fruit fly? Time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana. My daughter asked me to spell my name the other day. I was completely caught off guard. I've never been more proud. He's right. That's something in Greek. It roughly means black-bellied lover. I literally died. Get that? Anyone PLS help? They grow up so fast. I told my daughter that turtle is short for turts maggots. She definitely repeated that. Funny, that's really eloquent. Till Jimmy Carter met his future wife, Rosalind, 3 days after she was born. When Lillian Carter brought her 3-year-old son to meet a newborn she helped deliver. They started dating 18 years later, in 1945. I can't even imagine what it would be like to be married to someone for 77 years, let alone losing that person. R.I.P. Rosalind, and feeling for Jimmy. They were both extremely good people. The world could sure use more like them. It's always reported that they were the longest married presidential couple in history, but I wonder how many people, in general, can say they met their spouse as a newborn. What a shared life story. Had me hole up in the first half before I knew he was 3. Reposted after I realized the article I used was too recent. Also as the source for the 3 days later part. Someone needs to make this into a movie, how they met and when they started dating and then got married. Till John Heder was paid $1,000 to play Napoleon Dynamite. The movie grossed over $40 million in the United States. Initially, John lives on a farm over near me. Good guy. That's almost as crazy as when I learned Uncle Rico was Greg in White Lotus. It seems like John isn't doing too shabby these days. Good for him. Orlando Bloom was paid $175K for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. That's like $1 an hour. Can't find my checkbook. Hope you don't mind I pay you in change. Vote for Pedro. Napoleon. Don't be jealous that I've been chatting online with babes all day. Besides, we both know I'm training to become a cage fighter. I like how it phrased was paid $1,000 instead of agreed to be paid $1,000. Like they didn't all agree on the pay ahead of time, but more importantly, Abraham uses it to stick it to Jesse Eisenberg every single day. Still not everyone has two pinky toe joints. About 44% of people only have one joint on their pinky toe. Still not everyone has one pinky toe joint. According to a related study, about 2.6% of people have two on one side and one on the other. After analyzing the data, we found the presence of biphalangeal fifth toe in 46.3% of the feet, presenting this feature bilaterally in 97.4% of them. Let's see. 1. TW wait, are we counting the joint where it connects to the foot? Some people have two pinky toe joints. Wait, all yous can move your pinky toe? Had to check. Has two joints. Not something I would have ever thought about though. That's how you know if they've got a quirk or not. Everyone who read this checks. You're either a liar if you didn't, or you were stuck getting a pedicure at the time and you're going to check when you get home. Wait, I'm supposed to have more than one joint in my toes other than the first one? Till an Iron Man scene was taken from Robert Downey Jr.'s own life when the character he played, Tony Stark, screamed for a cheeseburger and then determined he would stop manufacturing WMD. Downey had years before determined to give up drugs after eating a disgusting Burger King hamburger. This is always taken out of context. Burger King is his favorite comfort food. It's why he ate it at the end of Iron Man. But after years of drug addiction taking away everything in his life he loved, he realized he had reached rock bottom when he thought his favorite food tasted like ash in his mouth. It was then he decided to get help. It wasn't that the burger was disgusting, it was that he could not enjoy his favorite burger because of drugs, and he became disgusted with his drug addiction interfering with his ability to enjoy life. Stop taking this out of context. He hadn't yet sunk so low as to eat a hamburger off the never-go-full Hasselhoff. Still before the invention of ice cream cones, ice cream was served in reusable glass containers called penny licks, which were notorious for spreading disease because they were reused, never washed between customers. I think some old-timey places still serve in this, but they now wash them. Oh yeah, the Soviets had a similar thing and it wound up being a form of mass immunization through like the worst way possible. We found some of these in a restaurant my chef opened up. The owner used them in an ice cream shop he owned long ago. We use them to serve mousse because they're so old they actually look really cool. Jesus, just fucking wash it. This led to the waffle cone being invented. Sanitation hurdles of human history. Chloroform plumbing mixing with drinking water. Whatever diseases you get from penny licks. You can taste the polio with every lick. Incidentally, my nickname, and general description, in high school. Till of shifting baseline syndrome, which is a gradual change in the accepted norms for the condition of the natural environment due to a lack of experience, memory, and/or knowledge of its past condition. The environmental scientist and social psychologist who coined the phrase efforted to illustrate the phenomenon with a universally understandable model. I used to see monarch butterflies all the time as a kid. I saw one this year and it reminded me that I hadn't seen one in years before it. Road trips when I was a kid resulted in lots of insect kill. Windshields and bumpers would get really gross. Young people have no idea that windshields are supposed to be splattered with insect bodies. I met Daniel Pauly earlier this year and he explained the concept and how it relates to fisheries. It was enlightening, but also really scary. Things are not going in the right direction. Till of the Boy Scout Nuclear Science Merit Badge. The requirements to receive the badge include building a Geiger counter, planting irradiated and non-irradiated seeds, and visiting an accelerator research lab or university where people study the properties of the nucleus or nucleons. Taskmaster is great, A. Then there is this dude. Has anybody actually got one? Or just build a backyard nuclear breeder? Not really. Reading this made me wish there was a real-life achievement system. Or you can just build a nuclear reactor in your backyard. This is, I believe, specific to the Boy Scouts of America organization. Everywhere else the international scouting movement defines such achievements. I believe their science badge is as close as you will get, as it includes an edible uranium experiment. That definitely didn't exist when I was in Scouts. That's very cool. My older brother has this merit badge. I do not, because by the time I was a Boy Scout proper it was discontinued. Still, the song Fight for Your Right by the Beastie Boys was written as a parody of frat culture, and the band was upset that people took it at face value. When Futurama had them on, they agreed under one condition. They wouldn't play Fight for Your Right. That's why they had Intergalactic and Sabotage on there. It happens very often that a band write a song as joke parody and it goes full mainstream success. And if unlike Beastie Boys it's their only one hit, then they really struggle to get away from it for Chumbawamba. They did this shit on purpose, took the money and ran extremely based. The last person on Earth won't have a burial, cremation or funeral. The last person on Earth might leave alive and well. If he's killed under an avalanche or a rock slide, he'll have a he's killed in a fire. He'll have a he dies naturally. His funeral will be attended by all the remaining creatures, scavengers of the land. You underestimate our robot overlords. Not with that attitude. You could set up a Rube Goldberg machine and end the species in style. You think the job of funeral director couldn't be done by a robot? Cremation is quite possible. Doesn't matter when nobody's attending. He could dig a grave, place a trigger in it and shoot himself. As soon as he falls into the grave, the trigger makes a nearby standing dump truck to lift its platform filled with ground just above the grave and dump it all. And there we go. The last man on Earth has just buried himself. They could shoot themselves and fall into a furnace or fall into the ocean or water grave. The most incredible part of Ron Jeremy's fame as a porn star is that he didn't look any better when he was a porn star. Thing about a lot of men porn stars is that you don't have to be good looking as long as you have a big endowment. There was a time when he was a young, thin porn star. You see him as a younger dude? Not terrible looking in his 30s. He let himself go tremendously after he realized he didn't need to be attractive to lay pipe anymore. Nah, the most incredible part is that everyone knows who he is despite the vast majority never seeing any of his work. In the days before Viagra he was one of the very few with complete control of erections and could jizz on the director's command. So he got hired to work every big budget film. He was just a prop. A very lucky and grimy prop. If you want hot dudes, you watch gay. You want hot ladies, you watch lesbian. You want hot both, you watch bi MMF porn. I didn't make these rules. 3 guys are walking through the woods when they find a lamp. One of them picks it up, rubs it, and out pops a genie. Delighted, the genie says, "You have finally freed me after all these years, so I'll grant each one of you 3 wishes." Okay, so I've heard this joke in person and it's way funnier to see the joke teller performing the actions. But what makes the joke funny is that it's a completely absurd brand of humor. The entire time you're supposed to think, what is the third guy getting at with these weird wishes? But in the end, he has no grand plan. He's just an idiot. It's intentionally anticlimactic and that's what makes it funny. Okay, I'll admit it, I don't get it. One of my favorite jokes and, as said above, you have to watch a person telling it. I hate how much I like this. We are lucky hair in our ass crack doesn't grow as long as hair on our scalp. Wait. It doesn't for you? I would wrap it around my waist like a Saiyan's tail. Bald people be like, oh, any hair on the body, not only the ass would be fucking awful if it grew the same way as on the scalp. Low. I get what you're talking about because mine does. I brace that shit and hang from the ceiling with the bottoms of my feet pressed together like Spider-Man. I'm just here for the comments. The gods must be tricksters, having given me both eyes and understanding only to waste both on this rubbish. True question, why is it luck to you? You could braid it and put pink bows in it. As a bald man, mine is objectively longer. It's not even close. I'm only bragging a little, just in for a trim, Bob. Unzips. Just wait until you're even older when you have more hair in your ass crack than you do on your scalp. What are the biggest lies that porn makes people believe? That when it comes to anal, you just ram it on in there full speed. There are hot local MILFs wanting to connect in my area. There is really no need for 27 minutes of that 30-minute video. If you don't have your wallet or purse at hand, you can pay for pizza through sex. She is a virgin that just turned 18 today, wearing nothing but a thong and a tank top that barely covered her DDs. Plumbers arrive 5 minutes after being called. Everyone can afford big beautiful homes. That women don't need any foreplay and they are just ready to go right away. It's been mind-blowing how many men seem to think 30 seconds of kissing is enough to turn a woman on. That dudes with 5-6 inches have small dicks. Pretty much everything about porn is a lie. TBH. Dick size, everything to do with it. Those massive sculpted dicks are not common, and most women would genuinely want to avoid porn star-sized dicks. What do you call a sexuality where you're attracted to men and women but they are not attracted to you? Bisexual. I recently found myself having the opportunity for a ménage à moise. Bisexuality. Redditor. Oof, cut deep man. Cut deep. Ostracism. My life. Incel. But your answer is, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. Ugly? By yourself. By ugly. Poor sexual. Non-fuckable. Me. One-sided love. By yourself. Lone sexual. What's a clear sign that you are an unattractive person? Nobody asks why you're still single. A little kid will tell you. They're blunt and honest and don't even know it. When people talk to you in order to get to know your friend, make a TikTok video about how ugly you. All of the comments say you're fishing. You're if they all say things like, stop, you're beautiful, etc. then you're unattractive. The only compliment you get is that you're funny. You get poor customer service no matter how friendly you are. Being invisible and never having anyone remotely interested in you mainly romantically. But even for friendship is kind of hard. Of course if you are also introverted the effects are way higher. When you do something slightly annoying or minor people act like you deserve to be stoned for it. Getting asked out is a joke. I was a very unfortunate looking preteen, and teenagers are cruel. When you post something on Rate Me and no one actually responds. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made while having sex? I went for a hard spank while she was riding me, mistimed the up and down strokes and slapped myself in the balls. My girlfriend is a homemade salsa enthusiast. Inadequate hand washing led to a jalapeno hand job. Do not recommend. Well, I can say for sure I am the biggest mistake both of my parents ever made during sex. Girl said fuck me daddy and I started laughing. I told my GF my dream was to have sex on the beach. She wanted to fulfill my wish so we went to a beach resort, woke up early, found a secluded spot, had our thing, and got covered in flea bites. He asked me who's a good girl, I said USMH. Came inside my ex-wife, resulting in a baby. Used whipped cream and grate in films, but it just makes a greasy mess. Even after you lick it off. Wiggly teeth are kind of interesting and fun when you're a kid, but cold sweat terrifying when you're an adult. I have nightmares all the time of my teeth literally just crumbling away in my mouth. I have fucking nightmares of this randomly sometimes. I wake up in a cold sweat and check my teeth straight away. I wish humans got another set of new teeth at some point in their lives. Like maybe around age 40. I would love to go through the process of losing mine again. But obviously only if there were new ones waiting in the wings. I'm watching my nephew wiggle a tooth while watching TV. I personally always hated losing teeth as a kid. I'm squeamish and even back then I thought it was gross. Lol. Cause in my country the cost of dental work is astronomically expensive for the average worker. Tell me about it. I'm 6 months into Invisalign treatment, and all my teeth are wiggly AF, distressed face. Women who watch porn, what do you look for? Something real and a muter over high production and fake orgasms. Romantic stuff where both parties are featured. I hate finding stuff where all you can see is the woman's face. Men moaning sensual dirty talking. Question for the ladies. Do porn ads show hot dilf around your location that can't wait to fuck you? More focus on the woman's pleasure. Or the guy's pleasure. Instead of them just going at it like bunnies and like it's hurting them. I look for bad actresses. I wanna see real pleasure or real boredom. I can't stand when women fake come from something that clearly does nothing. Men whimpering. A noisy man. I do not want to hear the woman slobbering on him. I want to hear how he feels. The play button. The foreplay. Dicks. Where a woman actually orgasms, not just the man. I like when the guy has a muscular ass and huge balls, and the camera focuses on that from behind. You can't really bite down on anything. You can only bite up because the top set of teeth can't move. Just not when you eat. I don't know why, but I hate this. Put your chin down on the table. Watch your head move up as your jaw cannot go down. Ha, have never eaten upside down, eh? Not in the reference frame of your lower jaw. My moment to shine, just lay your chin on the table and start chewing, now you're biting down. Praise be, a shower thought that mentally hurts everyone. Do an exaggerated chomp. Your head leans back, cause the top of your teeth to chomp down while your bottom jaw snaps up. Typically we chew, but some things call for really biting down on it. Everyone reading this is silently making little biting motions testing this theory. Oh fuck you. You just broke my brain. Not me biting my finger to test this, smiley face.